Okay, so I've started recording the session, and I'd like to welcome Carol Haire, who's the Principal Teacher and Digital Leader of Learning at Broomlea Primary School. And thank you for volunteering to do this session today. It's obviously very, very popular. But as I see here, a well-kent face, so obviously people are coming along to hear you. So I'll let you just sort of take the reins from here, okay, Carol? Thanks.
Okay, thanks. Hi everybody, yeah, it's Carol here. So that's right, I'm Principal Teacher at Broomlea Primary, which is a school in Glasgow. We're part of the Connected Learning project that some of you may have heard about. So that means that I'm a digital leader of learning as well, a DLOL. All our schools in Glasgow have one, and so that gives me the delightful task of doing lots of webinars at the moment. So I'll just tell you a little bit about our school first of all. The first slide there is our school badge, and you can follow us on Twitter at Broomlea Primary if you want to find out what we're doing. So this is our school and some of our learners. Our learners are primary 1 to primary 7, and all of the children have complex additional support needs. The majority of our pupils are non-verbal. They require a lot of support with their communication. All of the children are working within the early level of Curriculum for Excellence, and our school's got about 70% of pupils living in SIMD 1 and 2 areas. We also have a good number of families for whom English is a second language, and we've got some families with more than one child at the school, so daily life is quite a challenge for our children and families, certainly around communication and behaviour. Most of the children in school have an ASD diagnosis, and some of the pupils have more profound and multiple difficulties. So it means that many of our children have sensory processing issues. The world can be quite a difficult place for them to understand, and coupled with their repetitive and what we see as unconventional behaviours that come with ASD, we find that a lot of our children lack curiosity to learn about the world around them and to learn about people. They don't really see the need to engage with people, so they often behave in ways that are perhaps seen as quite unexpected. So the biggest difficulties that our children have are around communication. They don't naturally ask for what they need, and they find it really difficult to make choices in life. Generally, their behaviour is their way of communicating. So we support them to communicate more effectively through Makaton, PECs, other alternative augmentative methods of communication. And because we're part of this digital project, the Connected Learning project, we're now using technology to support this too. We are very aware that our learners do have something to communicate, and they do want to make choices, and they're often very clear about what they want. They just haven't found a way to use their voices to tell us yet. So as I said, all our pupils now have access to their own iPad, as being the pilot school. There are 2 pilot schools for the ASN sector in Glasgow. There's ourselves at Broomlea and Hollybrook Academy for the secondary sector. We're trying really hard to use the iPads to engage the children in their learning and to help develop their communication skills. When we heard that we were getting iPads for all the children, some people were a bit panicked. We were a bit worried because we know how difficult it is for our children to use the iPad sometimes appropriately. They get quite engrossed in what they want to do, and we wanted to make that a really useful learning tool. So we've come up with some quite creative ideas, and it's starting to work well for a lot of the children in our school. One of the apps specific to the ASN pilot is Choice Board Creator, so that's what I'm going to talk to you a little bit about today. I'm just going to briefly outline what the app can be used for. Obviously I'm talking about it in a specific setting, but you, I'm sure, will have ideas about how you can adapt it for individual children or adults that you're working with, or children who don't have such complex needs, but maybe still need some support with communication. It can also be used in mainstream settings for just learning different aspects of language and different aspects of communication there too. So I'll just outline what the app can be used for, and then hopefully I'll be able to switch to my own iPad and show you how you can create some simple choice boards and just take you through the steps of that. So the good thing about Choice Board Creator app is that it's free. There's a light version. Some of our parents have downloaded the light version onto their phones, which is really useful. I was going to say when you're out and about, but nobody's really out and about at the moment, but it's been very useful when they've been going to the shops or going to the park or different places that they can encourage their children just to use their phone to tap and to find out what they would like to do and where they would like to go. The paid version is only £1.99, and as far as I can see, there isn't a huge difference between them. On the paid version, you can share boards between devices once they've been made up, which you can't do on the version. So basically, it's exactly what it says. It's a little board that you can put choices on, and when the child or the learner taps on the choice that they want, they get rewarded with an audio response or a video response. So you can customize it really easily to make it suitable for whoever you're working with. It's content free, which for us is really useful because, as you'll know, if you work with children with complex needs, they can be very specific in their requests. And so it enables you to take photographs of very specific things to add into the choice board. Anything that you have a photograph of can be added onto the choice boards. Because our children find making choices so hard and so overwhelming at times, this is a really simple way of streamlining that for them so that you're limiting the choices and you're helping the children to just communicate that in a way that suits them. The layout of the boards is really nice and clean, as you'll see when I switch to the iPad in a moment or two. There's not a lot of distractions. Sometimes with apps that come with content in them, there's lots of bells and whistles and flashing things around. But this is really clean, that there's not a lot of distraction, which is really helpful. And the choice buttons can be altered in size. Some of our children have challenges with their fine motor skills, so that helps if we can adjust the size of the box to give them more opportunity to be able to make their choices. For some of our learners, we are just having one choice on a page. We're still working to engage them to reach out and tap a screen, holding a packet of crisps and giving one at a time, just to get that idea of I'm asking you for something. So you can limit it to one box, you can go up to 9 choices within one choice board. So it's quite good to be able to customize it in that way. Another useful thing is that you can add your own voice to this as well. So that's quite good and quite familiar. Parents can add their own voices rather than a kind of computer generated voice, which is good too. So here's some of our pupils, as you can see, that perhaps have some challenges around using fine motor skills, but are able to reach out and tap on the buttons because we were able to make them nice and big for them to be able to use. You can create blank boxes, so sometimes it doesn't have to be anything in a box. If you're trying to work on making a choice, for some of our children that's difficult even to just reach out and make a choice. And the good things is that you can have some of your choices switched off, which I'll talk about when I'm making a board later, or you can have all of the choices on. So you can really change it from day to day to suit the needs of the children and to suit your setting. There's a lot of scope within this as well. Not just to be using it as a kind of vending machine type thing, you know, I make a choice and I get something. We've used it as part of lessons to be able to communicate something that you like, something that you don't like. And I know that I've spoken to some colleagues in nursery settings for children with English as an additional language to reinforce vocabulary, to make choices about how many different things they want. So there's a lot of scope about what you can put into each of the boxes, as you'll see when we have a little look at it. We're using the app quite successfully to make real life choices. Lunch and snack obviously are big favourites and highly important to our children. So this app is really being used as a voice output aid for a lot of our children. It's providing a way of them saying what they want and indicating their favourites and their choices. My next slide has a little video and I don't think the audio is working on it, so I'll just kind of talk as I go through it. So this is one of our pupils making a choice about who they want to play with. So again, it's not just about choice about what I want. We've used it for just increasing awareness of people round about us. Oh, sorry, I'm just going to go back and make that work. So you'll see in the little video, he's being asked to choose, choosing his friend, and then I really, really want to play with this friend. So being able to look at a picture of something and make that connection between that's a photograph of this and this is what I want. We're using it, as I say, to support lessons, to choose a story that you want to read, to go to a place that you want to play in. But we've also had some staff using it quite creatively for sort of odd and out games, to play music. A lot of our children like lots of songs and videos on YouTube, and there's a way to tap on a photograph and then have the video play in the background without the use of Wi-Fi, which is always helpful too. Again, you can present vocabulary in there, keywords, sight words, shapes, numbers, so you can type anything into it, you can take a photograph of anything in it as well, so it's quite good to be able to make so many different choices. This is a board that's used quite a lot in lots of lessons at Broomlea, not just for art, not just for the colour of paint that you want, but what colour of cup would you like for your snack, or what bike would you like? I want the red one or the blue one. So that's a really nice board. The way we tend to work is that someone will make a board that suits their class or suits their lessons, and because we have this on all our iPads as staff, and the children have choice board on all their iPads as pupils, we can airdrop the boards straight across. At Broomlea, we still think airdrop's quite magical, but it's really good that we can create things and share them quite quickly, just saving our workload a little bit too. This is the same young man. He is having a game of Mr. Potato Head, but of course, me being the nasty teacher, I'm keeping all the bits back and I'm not letting him have them until he has chosen and shown me what he wants to do. And as he taps the different things, I'm able to reinforce the vocabulary of what he wants. So he's asking for his mouth and gets his little mouth. And does he ask for something different? No, it's the mouth that I really, really want. And I'm just going to check that I've still got it. And just another check, just to be on the safe side. So a nice wee way of getting the children to participate and engage in different things. This just happens to be that young man's older brother. And sadly, if you can't hear the audio on this, it's a shame, because one of the things that we've noticed as we've started using this app is that because when the choices are made, there's a vocalization, there's a speech about what they've just chosen. And if you were able to hear this, you would be able to hear that as this young man picks old man, he also says old man. You might be able to see it. He wants to dress up as the old man as part of their drama lesson. So he's starting to use the words that he's hearing from the iPad. It's quite exciting. Some of our children lack awareness of themselves, lack awareness of other people round about them. So for some of our younger learners, we've started with this app and we've used it to find themselves, find a little photograph of themselves at our assembly time each morning. And if we can start finding photographs of ourselves, then we can perhaps find photographs of our friends and building up that awareness. So this young man looks very shy. I can assure you he's not. And he's having a look for his photograph as part of the Good Morning assembly. So he's got 4 choices, as you can see there. Some of the other children would just maybe have one choice, or some of the choices would be switched off to help them identify their picture. So that's the basics of choice board, but I thought it would be useful today for you to see actually how to make a board, to see how simple it is. So I'm going to attempt to switch to my iPad now, and hopefully you can see my iPad screen. So this is what it looks like in the background before you see all of the choice boards. And just down the side here, we've got all the different activities that we would use. So the colour choice activity that I talked about earlier. A really simple one that we use quite a lot when we're trying to find out whether the children like things or dislike things. We've just got one called I Think, and it looks a bit like this. So it's really just using symbols to say, I really like that activity, I really didn't like that activity, and that's a really useful one that we can use quite a lot, so that can be put onto lots of the iPads. So I'm going to create one just now, and I'll just show you how you create a board. Up at the top there where it says activities, there's the little plus button, so I'm just going to add a new activity, and I'm going to add a good old favourite for us of snack. So the snack activity has now been created, and it appears down here on my list of activities, so I can tap on it to get started. As you can see, there's lots of stuff up there at the top. You can change the background colour. We tend to keep the background of ours white, just because it's not so distracting. But if you have children that you know like a particular colour and it might engage them, or if you wanted to just have them kind of organised by different types, have all your maths activities in blue and all your literacy activities in red, there's an option there to do that. But I'm just going to leave this one as white just now. Where it says there choice box randomization, so what happens when you start using the choice board is every time it's used, it switches the boxes around, so they're not always in the same place. And for some children, that's what we want, because we really want them to look and to find the picture that they want. But at the beginning, when you're starting to use this, we find that it's good to switch that off, so that the pictures always are in the same place. So the apple's always the very first picture that you see, or the banana's always in the bottom right hand corner, until the children become familiar, especially when they're still maybe not engaging and reaching out to use the iPad. So I'm just going to disable that for the moment, and then I'm going to add my snack page. So we add the page down here at the bottom, and I get a little preview, and that's the one that I want to start working on. So the board comes up, and as I said before, you can just have one box. So you can just have one on your screen. You can adjust the size, so that all the child is doing is tapping that, and then getting that sort of reward, that reinforcement. But for snack, we're going to have 4 choices, and I'm hoping, and this is where my iPad gets a bit sticky. Here we go. So we've now got 4 choices that we want for our snack. At the top here, it says you can enter or record a question. There's the option to record your voice on, or you can just have the title. What I tend to do is just speak to the children rather than have the iPad speaking to them. So although it says, what do you want for snack? You can see the little musical notes there, so you could record your voice saying that. But it tends to be more often when you're using a choice board with a child, you're there and you're presenting it to them. To add the content, it's as simple as it says. You tap to add your content. You can go straight to the camera, which is quite useful if you're out and about and you want to take pictures of things as you're going. But we're going to put things in from the photo library. And I should have a board here for choice board photos. So we're going to have an apple as our first choice. Our next choice, let's see what else we've got for snack, banana. So we're just adding the content to each of the boxes. If you wanted to work with children, instead of using photos or symbols, you can just add some text in here. So you can have those options. I think I'll change that back to the actual picture of breadsticks though, and then I'll keep it all the same just for today. So we've got our 4 choices there. To enable the choices of the choice board, you have to tick each of the buttons. So that means that all 4 choices are available to that child on this choice board now. This is quite useful when you go to the snack trolley and you discover that there are no bananas today for some reason. You can switch off the bananas one. So the child taps on bananas when they're making the choices. They don't get the option for bananas, and then you can have a conversation about why there are no bananas today, and hopefully that's accepted by the child. But we're going to switch them all on. The default for this when you switch them on is that they get a round of applause when they choose something. So I'm going to show you that, and hopefully you'll be able to hear it through my speakers okay. So I'm going to leave this board like that just now. I'm going to save it and then say that I'm done. And now if you see up in the top right hand corner, there's the option to play this board. So I would be saying to the child, what do you want for snack? Now they get all of those choices. So if they choose an apple, hopefully you can hear that okay, they get a round of applause. If they chose the yogurt, oh, I don't think I'm getting a round of applause. Let's try that again. They get a round of applause. So that's the default feedback for all of them, but you can customize that feedback. So if I go back into the planning board and I want to edit, up in the apple here, it's ticked, so I can choose it. You can put in some recording. You could put a piece of music in too, if you had something in a library, but you can put a recording in. I'm going to add a recording, and I'm just going to call it Apple because that's what it is. And I'm going to start recording and say, I want an apple. So I'm reinforcing what I want. Oh, I've just realised I've spelled apple really badly. Sorry, typing too fast. So now I can add that to that recording. So once I've saved that, and I go back to use the board again with the child, so at this time, if they choose an apple, when I tap on it, the apple becomes big, so they get that visual reinforcement. I want an apple. And then the vocabulary is there too, and that's what we're hoping, that eventually we might get some version of wanting an apple. So that's how to make a really basic board. As I said, you can add any content to that, anything that you have in your camera roll, anything that you take with a camera, any text that you want to add into that can make a very basic board. The other thing that I just want to show you today is how to add some video content into choice boards as well. We know a lot of our children like to look at videos and like to watch videos, and we like to use them for teaching and learning too. So one of our favourites is Singing Hands. So I'm just going to open up Singing Hands. I've started this board already just to show you who wanted to save a little bit of time. Again, I could add more boxes in and add more content to it. I've gone just for the 4 board again. I've taken these signs for Baba, Black Sheep, the Wheels on the Bus, and Row, Row Your Boat. These are just screenshots, so I've just screenshotted them and cropped them down to be able to add them in using my iPad. For the one with 3 little monkeys, I couldn't find a screenshot of the one that I liked, so I've just typed 3 little monkeys again, so you can decide which way you want to do it. But you'll notice in the Baba Black Sheep, it's ticked to say that it's available, but it's got a little kind of video clip next to it. So that's where you can add video content in behind the choice buttons. So if you've got videos downloaded onto your iPad, videos that you've saved, you can add these too. So I'm just going to do the same for the Wheels on the Bus. So I just choose that I want to add from my video library this time. I'll just have a little look. And I can now, Singing Hands videos all start the same way, so it's really hard to find out which one you're choosing. I'm going to go for this one and hope. I can see at the top that that's little monkeys, so I'm not adding that one. I want to add Wheels on the Bus, and that to me looks like Wheels on the Bus. So I'm going to use that. It'll compress the video and I'll just put it in behind this button. And that's ready to go. So now when we go to use the choice board, I've saved it and I've said that I'm done. When I play the choice board, I can say to the child, what do you want to sing? And if they choose, I've got content in for Wheels on the Bus and Baba Black Sheep. If we choose Wheels on the Bus, it takes them straight to the Singing Hands video. I've muted this so that you don't need to hear all of the song. It takes them straight to the video. And that content's there. You can't get out of this. It has to play the whole video, which some of the children might find quite challenging. Some of our children like just little specific bits of video, but it's a good way of making those choices and the children working independently. I'm going to attempt to switch back to my presentation. I have. So that's really how to create boards, what the boards can be used for. You might have some questions about it. Hopefully I haven't spoken too quickly about all of this. And if you have any questions for me, I will try and answer them as best I can.
Yeah, that was excellent, Carol. Thanks. I really enjoyed that. Very interesting. So if you do have any questions for Carol, there's a purple bar down on the right-hand side that has sort of 2 double arrows. If you click on that, you'll see a speech bubble, and in there, there's an option to sort of type up some messages for Carol. So feel free just to type up any messages, and we'll try and relay those questions to Carol. Carol, I think you can see them as well. Yeah, so please.
I'll just come out of my presentation. So
okay then, right.
See me fiddling about in the background. Sorry if you all of that.
And you had a great turnout today, over 35 pupils, so that was good. So Paul's saying really good and worked well. And all for it, did you say £1.19 or £1.99?
£1.99, yeah.
£1.99, and there's the light version as well. So there's a free version and there's the £1.99 version. So great, thanks. Claire, do you recommend the £1.99 version? It looks well worth the money. Paul's asking.
Yeah, I think so. I think for £1.99, it's not really that expensive. I know that I think the only difference between them is, I mean, we want to share boards between devices. But I think for some of the families that we've worked with on this, they've just got the free version. They put it on their phone, or they've put it on an iPad. And I think because iPads are quite portable, you can kind of take them out and take them different places. So I think the free version is absolutely fine unless you want to make boards and then share them between other things. So yeah, the £1.99 version can airdrop to another iPad. Yes, yeah. So yeah. That makes that.
Yeah, sorry, and the other question is it a way to share from a school device to a parent device at home?
That's a good question. I think so. I think if the parent device has the paid for version on it, you would be able to just airdrop straight across. Yes, I'm just seeing another comment about airdrop being magical. I agree. But yes, I think you can then go back and forward between them, but in the paid version, yeah.
Okay, thanks. Claire's asking that she may have missed, but is there a way to set up a board so that the label of the image is spoken aloud before you make a choice?
No, the choice is only given once you've actually tapped it, which is a little bit annoying because yes, it would be quite good to be able to hear them, to have that kind of accessibility to actually hear. So for children who maybe have some kind of visual impairments, that would be better. That might be something to suggest to the creators of Choice Board, or maybe tweet them about that.
Okay, thanks. So if there are no more questions, sorry, Suzanne's asking, is there an app similar for stories like Switch It?
I'm not sure, but I could try and find out.
Okay, if anyone on the group today has any suggestions, please pop them in.
Oh,
and sorry, Carol.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm just getting a question there from Eamon asking if it can be installed on the managed iPad. So I'm thinking that's a Glasgow City Council person there. It's going to be installed on the ASN iPads, but I'm part of the ASN group, which obviously isn't meeting at the moment because things are all a bit haywire. But we're recommending that it's not just on the ASN iPads, that it's on all iPads, because what's good for children with additional needs is good for all children. So I'll keep on that.
Okay, and a couple of suggestions coming in. Tiny Tap for stories, Lizzie suggests, and Claire possibly Bitsboard to using stories which have been uploaded to YouTube. So some other suggestions that might be useful. Okay, yes, useful for parents at home too.
Definitely, yeah.
Well, I know you've had a busy day at school today as well, Carol, and you've just come straight home from school and you've started getting ready for this presentation. So it's been a busy day for you. Thank you.
No problem at all.
Okay, folks, I think I'll draw the session to a close now. So thanks for everyone for attending, and especially thank you to Carol for such a great session. And it's recorded, and we'll have the link up on the call website probably sometime tomorrow if you want to see the recording of this. Okay, so I'll close the session down now. So thanks to everyone for joining, and thanks to Carol. Okay, have a good night.
You.
Bye. Bye. Bye.